Hey, if you ever find yourself frantically jerking your hand to get to the next position, you might be making a mistake that is very common, super easy to make, but luckily very easy to fix once we start thinking in the right way. Now, sometimes we do have to move quickly. There's just no way around it. For example, in the transition from the half bar to the full bar in Romanza, a song every nylon string guitarist must know, we go like this. So I had to jump there pretty quickly, but look at this phrase from Leyenda. Even though that phrase from Leyenda covers a lot of territory, we're able to play it more smoothly because it has one thing in it that that Romanza example does not have, and that is an open string. So the guitar in its standard tuning is tuned the way that it is to allow for open strings and to make things easier for us to play, believe it or not. Now, Leyenda wasn't even written for a guitar, it was written for piano, but we played in a key that's common to the guitar to allow for those open strings. Here's a great example. So obviously in that song, the open B string is very important to make the song happen. But what I'm talking about here is discovering and noticing little breathing spaces that we have very often in music written for the guitar that allows us to move. And you might think you're already doing this correctly, but I want to give you a couple exercises and some great song examples to work on this. And you can get a free PDF that I made in the description below that gives every exercise and every example that I do in this video. I think a great example of this is the opening arpeggio to Villalobos Etude No. 2. It's really nothing more than an A major arpeggio, and it's going to go like this. Now in that example, we really can't play it at all unless we take advantage of those open strings by moving exactly when the open string is played, and that is the key. I'll bring the tab up and show you how to play that in a minute, but first I just want to give you the point of what I'm talking about in something like this, which is a lot easier. This is an anonymous tango. Now there's two spots there where I think I can most easily illustrate what I'm talking about. So what's happening here is playing this A note, then we have the open string, and then we have an A minor chord here. But here's the problem. Here's how a lot of people play this, and I've seen students over the years, they do exactly this, and I think it's a bad habit. They're going to go like this. So there, I played it and it sounded right, but there was a lot of opportunity for error there because I waited on that open string and I didn't move until I needed to hear the next note, and that is bad. We want to do it like this. So the idea here is we're synchronizing the movement of the left hand with the open string at the absolute moment that we play that open string like this. And the result of that is a much more relaxed motion. I can kind of get over here and take my time and actually get there early. So this is a form of what I would think of as left hand planting. We talk about planting in the right hand mostly, and that's just getting to the string ahead of time. But this is the same exact idea. We always want to be one step ahead of ourselves like this. I'm moving nice and early. Look at the next one. I moved right on that D string when it was open instead of going like this and then being late. Because if you dive bomb the string and just jerkily throw your hand there, you're likely to miss it. And it gives us this whole sense of franticness that we don't want to have when we're playing. We want to be relaxed, and we're just going to play better, and we're going to enjoy playing more if we're not frantically moving all the time when we need to make a big jump. Why I think this happens in most people is that when our left hand releases from the string, sometimes our right hand can think, oh, that it shouldn't play. And I know that we know intellectually that our right hand can play open strings and our left hand can be doing anything else. But it's just kind of a thing that you might be doing that you never thought of before, never noticed. But when we're not fretting anything in the left hand, sometimes your right hand will stop because it's waiting for the left hand to get there or something like that. So while we need to synchronize the right and left hands, absolutely. And here's a great exercise for that. You should do this every day of your life. That's both right and left hand working at the same time. We also need to kind of decouple them so that your left hand can be doing anything and even be off the strings and be moving while the right hand is not interrupted and doesn't pause as a reaction to the left hand. So let's do this little exercise. Let's play B flat on the first fret of the fifth string. I'm playing that with my thumb, and we're going to end up with the same finger here. We're just keeping it simple all the way up to the 8th fret. So we're going to go B flat, and then we're going to go up to F, back and forth. Now, in between, with your index on your right hand, it really doesn't matter what fingers you use in your right hand because this is a left hand thing, but I'm going to play B flat, then play the open D string, and then F, play the D string again. Okay, what we don't want to do is this. We want to go and move at the instant that we play the open string. This is the key. This is how you get better at this. We want to move right there. For that matter, I like to make people do this. Just move your hand as far as you can get it on that open string. We're trying to synchronize it with the open string. Now, if the music called for us to let a note ring out on the bass, then we don't have the luxury of doing this, and it's not always available to us. But this is a habit that we want to get into, is noticing when can we take advantage of those open strings to move more fluidly and in a more relaxed way, and get there early even, and it's going to sound better and it's going to feel better. So here's our exercise. 1st fret, open, 8th fret, open. Trying to move right on the open D string. All of the song examples that I'm playing in this video you can either find in my Ultimate Nylon String Guitar Guide, where I teach that entire tango and all of Romanza step by step with play-along videos and all kinds of other stuff. And Leyenda and The Sound of Bells are just 2 of many, many songs I have in my tab collection, which is a monthly subscription that gives you all these songs I'm always adding to, Spanish classical stuff, flamenco, bossa nova, all kinds of great stuff in there. And each and every PDF comes with a play-along video so you can make sure that you're playing the right thing at the right time. The more difficult the song is that you're trying to play, the more essential it is that we have this habit of moving on the open string. But like I said, we can't always get it. So in this example from The Sound of Bells, we had a couple of instances there where we can move on the open string, and then some where we couldn't. Let's check it out. So we're starting on this D chord, and then right here on the open string is the perfect chance to move. And not only that, we also have a guide finger that we can leave on the string. So we have this chance for an opportunity for ultimate stability here if we leave it on the string and move early. And it's a lot more relaxed than moving at the last second right when we're about to hear or need to hear the note. Move. Right there. Now right here, we don't have the luxury, because we would if we weren't in drop D. I'm going to play this E note here, so we go, and we have to be there right away. And there's no way around that. If we weren't in drop D, it would be the open string, and then I could get away with playing the open while I'm moving, but here I can't. So here we can. Move. Can't move, or at least we can't move early. Here, when I slide this up, I'm going to try to play that open string. That's a weird coordination thing in itself, because we're sliding into a note, and the moment that we get to that note without playing it, we're going to play another string. It's pretty bizarre. So I moved right on the open string. Right there. So much more relaxed. Instead of moving right there. So I could feel that I almost missed it. Move on the open string at the instant that we play the open string. Let's look again at that Villalobos A major arpeggio, because I think it's a great thing that we need to know anyway, our arpeggios, at the same time working on this open string concept. So we're going to play an A major chord like this. If you can bend backwards at that first index knuckle, that would be great. I'm going to hammer on the pinky there, thumb, index, middle, and then here comes the open string, and that's when we're going to move. So I think before we even do the rest of it, you should practice this. Trying to get in motion on the high E string. Not after it, but exactly when you play it. Or just throw your hand blindlessly, or just throw your hand blindly to the right, just so we can get the idea of moving, synchronizing it on the open string. Now what we're going to try to get to is this A note here. It's just the next note in the arpeggio. So that's why songs are written in the keys that they are typically. I mean, if you're playing jazz, forget about it, because a lot of those jazz songs are written by musicians who play woodwind or piano or instruments that can favor flat keys, or at least don't have the disadvantage that we have playing flat keys, and that is we have to bar things and not have a lot of open strings. So check this out. Trying to get up to this A note. So really what we can do is this. Here's another great exercise, just like the one we did at the beginning. Playing this C sharp note as part of this bar. If you want to play it this way too, kind of the flamenco way to play an A chord, that's another good option. You certainly could play it this way as well. But hammering on this pinky is going to give you trouble. That's why I did it like this. But I know not everybody can bend backwards. That's something you should strive for, though, by the way. It's just relaxing that first knuckle. And then that really, when you do a half bar, as in Romanza, or this here, I'm trying to be clear of the first string, you can really achieve this partial bar with zero effort. It looks like I'm squeezing it really hard, but all I'm doing is relaxing backwards, and I get all the pressure that I need. So I have C sharp on the B string, the open E, moving right on that open E and trying to get to A. So that would be a good transition to practice. Here's the whole arpeggio. Move. Now we're gonna play C sharp on the 9th fret, E up here, pull it off, come back to A, and then play E again. But you guessed it, that's exactly when we have to move back again. This time we're gonna finger it this way. It actually makes more sense in reverse to do that. And then we repeat it again. So coming from the high note. The faster we go, the more critical it is that you move certainly right on that note. But we get to a certain speed and you're not thinking about that at all because there's literally no way to play it without moving right on that note. But when we play slower songs, it's a habit that we want to have, and to do it even there, we're going to play with so much more control and stability if we can get there early. So I think a really an analogy I use sometimes, which is a horrible, bad analogy, is that if you're driving somewhere and you like to listen to audiobooks, right? This is such a dumb example. But you wouldn't get to your destination and then turn the audiobook on and sit there for 30 minutes and listen to it, right? You're going to do it while you're driving. I told you it was a bad analogy. But what we're going to do is move when we have the opportunity to move. We had to play that open string anyway. We should use that time to be in motion to get to the next spot. And then when we get there, we have more time to be set up and ready to go. Let's look at another phrase from Leander where we have the same kind of idea, where it's totally necessary that we move on the open string. Now, the only way to get there cleanly is to move right on that open G string. Let's look at it. There's a lot going on there in that transition. We have to go from the pinky to the middle finger, and we're completely reorienting our hand, so we have to do it at the moment that that G string plays. Right there. Now, it's not just melodies and things like that. Even when you're strumming, we need to use the same idea if we can. And it's going to sound more, it actually will sound a lot better in most keys, but it's going to make us play in a more relaxed way. Watch this. I don't know if you noticed, but every time I was about to go to the next chord, I left early, kind of on the and of 4, and so I actually was playing open strings, but that just allows you to not have to frantically get to the next chord, and it actually introduces a little bit of harmonic complexity into the song, believe it or not. It's just open strings, right? But in a key like E minor, which is what I was just playing, those open strings are completely kosher in the key, so I'm going on A minor, and coming off on the and of 4. This gives us so much more time to get where we're going in a relaxed way, and in a confident way, and in a stable way. You should get that free PDF below where I've got all the song examples from today and the exercises. And that Villalobos arpeggio I was talking about, he has another really, really great one, Etude number 1, very, very popular, very, very famous. I want to show you how to play that arpeggio pattern and why it's so important right here.